Express to not.
Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strykers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strykers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Welcome to Soccer in 60, everybody, your favorite Thursday footy show in the whole wide world, or at least here in Southern California. Although we are international, and I do have friends in England listening to us today. Hey, we have a fun show planned for you as we will connect with Katie Zelem of Angel City at the bottom of the hour, so hang tight for that. We'll look at the egg on the scoreboard for LAFC and the Rapids getting thrashed by the Galaxy over the weekend. The Empire Strykers and the MASL are full steam ahead for the upcoming season, and the Strykers have been in a fury lately with several signings in the last few days, including one announced just this morning. We'll also check in with Orange County as they powered themselves into the next round with the mild upset of Memphis 901 on Saturday morning. Philly, it's great to be back with my favorite soccer show, man. How's your day going?
Back on Thursday, my friend, with a vengeance and with bubbly this time, but not the fun adult kind. If you're listening, literally bubbly, sparkling water, open to sponsorship opportunities here on Soccer and 60.
Oh, come on, it's Bublé, isn't it? Where's the
No, that would be
voice?
a singer. That would be a crooner of a singer who has the Frank Sinatra style, Michael Bublé. This is the bubbly, but not the kind
Bublé.
of any kind.
Oh, fantastic. It's good to see you, my friend. You're looking good today. I know that it's been an adventurous week for us here in Southern California soccer, so let's kind of pile into it. Let's talk a little LAFC and that egg they laid over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if your glasses are dirty. If you're saying I'm looking good, maybe you got a smudge on those lenses of yours. LAFC.
A little bit.
LAFC. Do we have to talk about LAFC? The reason why I'm not thrilled about talking about LAFC is because you're right. They got skunked by the Vancouver Whitecaps just this past weekend, which means there is a round 3 tomorrow at BMO Stadium, the 12th time in 2 seasons that these two teams will battle against one another. I don't know, Tim. I'm a little nervous about this one. A little perturbed that I had to pay another $600 for my LAFC tickets. I won't even be able to be at the game because I'm calling UC Riverside's basketball home opener tomorrow. But here we are, Vancouver again. Did you get a chance to see the game? If not, you didn't miss much.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was catching up on all of it, and I rewatched some of the highlights. And yeah, it was. They didn't show up in the first half. It was Cherundolo came and talked to him at halftime, got them all fired up in the second half. But that first half was just, it was miserable, Philly.
Miserable indeed. I know the question that everybody was asking was, where was Carlos Vela? Well, I have the answer for you. He was at the Intuit Dome watching the Clippers game. That's right. He did not travel. And the idea of Carlos Vela playing on turf after having not played pretty much all season long, not surprising. I don't even necessarily want to talk about Carlos Vela because I would caution everybody in terms of their expectations. Can't rely on a player that hasn't really been a part of this team all season long. All onus should really be on the players that took the pitch. But yeah, first half, Tim, was awful. If you don't know the name, folks, Ryan Gold and Brian White of the Vancouver Whitecaps are a couple of phenomenal players. Ryan Gold had the first goal of the game 10 minutes in. Fantastic ball movement, man. Like Brian White gets it in the box over to another deadly player, and that is Stuart Armstrong. Takes a crack at it. But unfortunately, Maxime Chenot makes a defensive play. Not a great clearance. The rebound goes to Ryan Gold, and he gashes it right off of his right foot, right past Hugo Lloris, and it wouldn't get better from there. That was the only goal, though, that the Vancouver Whitecaps would score all day long. LAFC would have 2. Problem is, it wouldn't be for their own record.
Yeah, those couple of own goals, especially that second one, just 4 minutes after Gold hits the first one. He drives that cross in, and it just like carooms in there. I mean, and you talk about great passing, great ball movement. The pass to get Gold open at the top of the 18 was a thing of beauty. The the Whitecap player looks off the defense and puts a nice beauty of a through ball about 15 yards right onto the, I wanted to say tape of his shoe, but, right onto his laces. And he rips one right through the middle of the LAFC defense, and it caroons past Hugo Lloris, and Hugo Lloris is sitting there like, what the heck, boys? Where are we going?
Yeah, no, he wasn't happy with his defense at all. And statistically, Vancouver is a really solid team when scoring first. 12-2-3 when scoring first. And, well, LAFC on the road, only 11-8-3, which is actually really good for a team in Major League Soccer. The own goal was it was an absolute poop show. Let's just put it that way. Coming off of a ping-ponging ball off of a corner, ball gets its way over to Sebastian Berhalter, finds Ryan Gold, but he looked like he was trying to connect with Ranko Veselinovic. Unfortunately, it comes off of Ryan Hollingshead's foot, own goal, but Ryan Gold did have the delivery in the box. Once again, without him really making too much, needing to make an impact or even score a goal, he had his presence felt in that frame of the game as well. A mere 3 minutes later, 2-0, awful start.
Yeah, and LAFC just had no answers for anything. I mean, I think they only had one reasonably scoring chance that entire first half, and it was shut down very quickly. And Takaoka was just fantastic this entire game when he had to be. The first 5 minutes of the second half, he was on fire. But, that entire first half with LAFC looking like they had flown to Montreal instead of Vancouver. They were trying to figure out where they were on the pitch the entire first 45.
Look, they're lucky that they didn't go into the locker room down by 3. Papa Pico, another great player on Vancouver, easily could have hit the nail into the coffin. I mean, they had no sense of urgency, LAFC, within the first 45. And you want to talk about they looked like they were in Montreal. You're not wrong. They only had 3 shots over the course of the entire first 45 minutes. But the second half, Steve did say something to fire them up because right from the get-go, Eni Bwanga trying to challenge Takaoka on a multitude of occasions from the 48th minute to the 49th. There were some really good opportunities for LAFC. But, I mean, look, they were a completely different team. Unfortunately, though, 60th minute, man, this was the game changer for me. Denny had the best chance, period, for LAFC at this point. Lewis O'Brien, who's really been a godsend into the midfield. The midfield in some LAFC's losses hasn't been the greatest. But he threads it into Denny. He beats Blackman, but then he gets stonewalled by Takaoka. That should have been the one, Tim. Unfortunately, Takaoka had the better day. That would still be one more goal, though, for Vancouver.
Yeah, and again, Gold is part of this one, too. He's rocking and rolling. He's playing. And, they come down on the far left wing, and, the Whitecaps just drive this ball in. And at first, it looks like the Whitecaps guy gets on it. He sure celebrated like he had scored. But upon further review, it does go off the LAFC defense behind Hugo Lloris. And again, he's baffled. He's like, how is another one going in off of my defense when you guys are supposed to keep the ball out of my net, not keep putting it in?
Yeah, I mean, it was Ryan Gold again, beating Aaron Long, try to connect with Brian White, just comes off of Eddie Segura. I mean, that's all she wrote. LAFC was not anemic by any stretch of the imagination in the second half. They would end up with 15 total shots, 5 of them on goal. So that ends that. It's the first time that LAFC's gotten skunked in a playoff game, period. Even going back to the 2018 season against RSL, they still managed to find to the back of the net. This is the first time they even lost to a Western Conference opponent in the postseason since 2020. So a really rough outing. But look, Vancouver has something to prove. They've been beaten by LAFC time and time again, and they'll have that opportunity at BMO Stadium, although I'm not going to say I like their chances. LAFC, they're going to be in a situation where it's kill or be killed. And at BMO Stadium, in front of the 3252 and the other 18,000 screaming fans in BMO Stadium, I'm going to have to say that LAFC is going to come out victorious. But, Danny Sartini has something to prove, head coach for the Vancouver Whitecaps, as do all the other players. When you're basically a team sacrificial lamb for a number of seasons, you're going to play with a chip on your shoulder. And that's exactly what Vancouver did. Worst ass whooping, pardon me for saying that, of LAFC by them in quite a while. And tomorrow's going to be really, really interesting. Again, it's do or die or that's it. They're either going to be golfing next week or playing against another team that actually has a score to settle with them, and that is the Seattle Sounders.
Yeah, and you know what? We talked about this last week about, potentially not liking this format. But I tell you what, Philly, if this wasn't the format where you got to win 2 of 3, they'd already be golfing because the aggregate is 4-2 in favor of Vancouver. So the LAFC gets a little bit of a reprieve to actually do get to come home tomorrow night and potentially put themselves into the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, look, you're not wrong. We're lucky that it's not an aggregate thing. Otherwise, yes, that would have been done. But look, they have an opportunity to go forward. Look, with what happened in Major League Soccer, with the Columbus Crew being out, with Miami being on the precipice as well, if Atlanta can somehow beat Miami and LAFC can continue to go through, they have the opportunity to host MLS Cup at BMO Stadium. The problem, though, is with the date of the MLS Cup final, there's a concert going on at BMO Stadium, so that would be another problem that LAFC might have along their horizon. But unless they get the win tomorrow against Vanni Sartini and it's really dangerous and feeling themselves Whitecaps, it doesn't even make sense to have that conversation. But hey, look, congrats to them. They played a great game despite us scoring 2 goals for them. They're a tough team. Tomorrow is going to be a slugfest.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to be watching that game. I know that you're not going to be at the game, but I'll be watching it on TV. Maybe I'll just pick up your tickets and go have fun with those tickets instead.
I will happily sell them to you. I know you're flush with cash, Tim. I'll sell you my ticket right as we finish the show. You have it if you want it. Honey, I need it. Bad.
Dig it. Hey, let's move on to the LA Galaxy. And the Galaxy had no such issues with their thrashing of Colorado over the weekend. When you beat them 5-0 the first game, 4-1 the second game, Colorado was completely out of their depth. And all of this was happening in the midst of Gabriel Peck, who again is only 23 years old, Galaxy fans, being named MLS Newcomer of the Year. The stats that Gabriel Peck has got this season are just unwieldy. I'm not going to go through all of them, but just imagine that you have a guy that comes in and he's part of over 20 different goal celebrations, more than 10 himself, more than 10 assists on a team that has more than 4 people having 10 plus goals. You want to talk about a great deal for the LA Galaxy picking him up out of Brazil this past season? Just fantastic.
I mean, yeah, from Vasco da Gama, you talk about his stats, 16 goals, 14 assists. He's the youngest player in Galaxy history to record 30 goal contributions in a single year. And he got things going off on a great look. This is a microcosm of the entire series, if you will. This play right here, an incredible pass from Carlos Garces to a sprinting Gabriel Peck on the right. Pass was too nuclear as it goes right to former U.S. men's national team keeper Zach Steffen. He steps outside of his box to make a play. And this is one of those goals that comes on somebody's like blooper highlight reel. Steffen tries to go for that long kick, but Peck is right there to create an obstruction and a deflection. It goes right off of him into the back of the net. I mean, if I was Zach Steffen, I'd be feeling about this big right now. For those of you who can't see, very small. It would be the what I'm saying here.
Yep. And if we were having this show in England, it'd be called a howler. Because and this is all built, like you just said, Zach Steffen is a little lackadaisical, but this goal doesn't happen without the speed burning baby that Gabriel Peck is, man. The guy was just ripping down there. He jumps at the exact right moment. And Steffen just makes a poor decision based on being forced into that position by Gabriel Peck. It was really, really fun to see that first goal. And we talk about it. You're breaking a team early, things like that. I really do believe that was a goal that kind of broke Colorado's back. And it was early in that match. So, they go on and, the Colorado does get one back, ties that score up in the 19th minute with the curling shot by Oliver Larraz. But I mean, after that, Paintsil comes in, breaks his snake bit scoreless streak of, since June. And Paintsill cut inside with his right foot, and he fires a curling shot that gets in off of the off that far post, and it's just brilliant. They're up 2-0 going into the half.
Yeah, he Paintsill had himself a Keegan Rosenberry for breakfast that night. I mean, he had no problem getting by Rosenberry to create that space for himself. 2-1 at the half. That, I would say, was the backbreaker. At that point, an amazing goal off Larraz. Colorado had some signs of life. Forget about the fact that they lost 5-0 the earlier game, not going on aggregate, but a ball game until the backbreaker. And to quote Billy Hayes, the former infomercial salesman from back in the day. But wait, there's more.
Wait. More goals for the Galaxy. We've talked about this all season long, that if you get into the second half with the Galaxy and you aren't up by 4 or 5 goals, you're going to lose this game. Now, it took a while for the boys to come in and get these next couple of goals, but they did put in a couple of more late in the game. Ricky Pooch comes in off of a couple of nice passes between Edwin Cirillo and Diego Fagundes. He slides Ricky Puig down the left side.
Yasiel Puig, the Dodgers won the World Series a week ago. You're forgiven for that mishap.
Thank you, kind sir. And Pooch gets he just puts it in from point blank. And Pooch gets a second one just a couple minutes later. And who's on the other side of it? Gabriel Peck puts on a really nice long ball at midfield. Pooch comes in, races towards the goal, calmly eludes Zach Steffen, who comes out trying desperately to keep the ball out of the net. And Pooch puts it in, gets another one. Final score 4-0. And it was just a really, really strong all-around performance by the LA Galaxy once again, and just buried these guys in the second half.
I mean, the speed, the pace of Ricky Pooch was just unreal. Connor Ronan of Colorado desperately tried to catch him, but he had no shot in hell as Pooch just blazes by him. And then just to not have, when you're feeling foggy, sometimes you jump, right? I mean, be so free as to take a couple liberties with my expressions. A lesser player would have gotten nervous in front of a keeper like Steffen, might have bobbled the ball or had too tough a touch. Not Pooch. Pooch was calm, like you said, beats him, adds another goal to it, 4-1 the final score. And this is hot off of the heels of a 5-0 win at Dignity Health Sports Park back on October the 26th. 9 goals in 2 playoff matches for the Galaxy. Good Lord. And I'm going to tell you this, Tim. This might be a hot take. I think them losing to Houston in the way that they did them a favor. And here's why. Because in the next round, they're going to take on Minnesota United. All right? A team that's fine, but they are the 6th seed. For LAFC, if they manage to get past Vancouver, they've got to take on another team that's really pissed off at them because they keep beating them, and that of the Seattle Sounders. I would much rather take on Minnesota United rather than the Seattle Sounders. I would have preferred competing against Colorado as opposed to Vancouver. I think Galaxy did themselves a huge favor by being in the position that they're in. And look, even with Minnesota, it's not going to be as easy. Back on October the 20th, back this season, I'm sorry, they drew earlier in the season on May 2-2. And then, well, it took a 90th minute goal by our boy Peck, your boy Peck, I should say, in the 90th minute to beat them down in Carson 3 days after the Rose Bowl game. It's not going to be any easy. And look, between Bongo Kule Halongwane and Robin Lod, you got some ballers there, man. Lod, 7 goals, 16 assists. Halongwane, 11 goals, 4 assists. It's not going to be easy, but still, I'd rather take on Minnesota United than the Seattle Sounders.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll happen after the international window that's coming up between the 11th and the 19th. And here's an interesting fun fact that we'll dig in way deeper into next week. There are 9 Minnesota United players being called into the international window, only 1 from the Galaxy. So be prepared to have Minnesota United have a couple of tired people, whether they're playing or not. They're definitely going to be, if they're traveling, they're going to have some tired up. So with that, rock and roll. Hey, we're presented by the Empire Strykers. So let's get after what they're doing this entire week. Over this offseason, there has been a furious set of signing. over the past couple of weeks, including one just today, Philly. Let's pile into that.
Every day I look at the social medias, all I see is the Empire Strikers have signed. The Empire Strikers have signed. In fact, the joke at the MASL Combine goes, how many players do you have on your team? You've already filled your MASL team, your M2, your M3, and then have another outdoor team if you wanted to with substitutions. The thing is, the Empire Strikers can only carry 26 names at the roster deadline on November the 15th, 16th. But that being said, they bring back Jose Gonzalez, a former member of the Ontario Fury, which was the team's name prior to the rebranding Empire Strikers. And he was back with the Fury in 2016. I mean, he's got a long tenure in the Major Arena Soccer League. He brings a lot of knowledge to this team and a great deal of experience.
Yeah, and the amount of experience that is coming in to the Empire Strikers is just amazing. You know, you've got the signing that you just talked about. We've got two other signings that we can talk about. We can talk about re-signing, Jose Gonzalez, right, who played a long time ago. We can talk about a couple of other ones, but bringing in Jose Gonzalez to the roster is going to be great. He played for the
Fury, the Ontario Fury, not the Ottawa Fury, the Ontario Fury.
Yes, and when he comes in, he's going to be one of the longest tenured players, other than the captain, Israel Izzy Cisse.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the players that they're bringing in, the core guys, the people that, last year the Strikers had nothing but a whole bunch of rookies, right? We can just say it. Not a whole lot of guys coming out of indoor soccer. A lot of outdoor guys coming indoor. This year, there's a lot of indoor guys coming to the Strikers, and it's going to be a much different setup, a much different structure for the team this coming year.
Look, postseason or bust. I would say MASL championship or a bust. There's a couple other players I want to highlight. Munir Alami, who played in the top flight in his home country of Morocco, a very highly touted prospect, by the way, from Morocco. He was able to participate with the U national team system at the U19 level. He got some interest from teams in Spain, not as well as USL, but decided on indoor. And I've heard a lot of things about him, both from players and coaches. This kid's going to be good. And then the signing that you mentioned earlier today, Leopoldo Hernandez came up via the Sacramento Republic Academy in the USL. Was a member of UC Riverside, the team that I call college men and women's soccer for on ESPN Plus. He was there prior to that, Taft College. He was a member of NISA, the LA Force. Empire Strikers do have a deep history with this NISA side, not to mention the Chattanooga Red Wolves. So really, really interesting background to go on top of Alex Bradley, who they just signed last season. For those who don't know, Alex Bradley comes over from the Milwaukee Wave, was a key part of their title run, has had a tremendous indoor career as well. So a lot of really cool things happening with the signings, but there's also a big bit of news on a macro level, Tim. What's going on in Utica in February?
Well, this is big news, and if you haven't heard about this one yet, the MASL will have an all-star game.
Drum roll for those who didn't hear.
That's right. It's going to be great. The MASL has recently announced that there will be a all-star game in Utica, New York. So it'll be a little bit frosty when that comes around in February, but it's going to be fantastic. You're going to get all of the major stars from the entire MASL will come out and perform at the Utica Arena, and it's going to be really, really a fun game to watch. It's one of those things where we don't always get to see every team. The Strikers aren't going to get to have every team come and see them play in Toyota Arena. But when you're able to watch them all on a very well public, nationally telecast event, you're going to be able to see all of these stars and watch how good some of these guys really are that you don't get to see except on your little TV screen. Being able to see them in person.
Oh yeah, no. This first All-Star game since 2020, Tim. Back when they hosted it at Cable Dahmer Arena in Kansas City. There's so much unbelievable talent in the Major Arena Soccer League. There really is. You get to see the likes of a Frank Tayu, who now plays for the St. Louis Ambush. Frank Tayu, the all-time leading scorer in the league. You get to see Nick Pereira, who's the captain of the United States men's national beach soccer team, as well as collegiately around here. Played at UC Santa Barbara, where he won the NCAA's 2006 most outstanding player in the College Cup. You've got some great players within that. We might see the likes of a Marco Fabian. We might see the likes of, so many talented players. San Diego's got a plethora of them. Gabriel Costa, so many good players. So February 12th at the Adirondack Bank Center. Not sure who's going to be on the call. I fingers crossed, folks. Fingers crossed. The All-Star game.
Let's hope it's you, Philly.
Oh, I hope so, man. I really do. Look, first All-Star game since 2020. Prior to that, we hadn't seen an All-Star game in the MASL or any version of indoor soccer since 2001. So I'm really happy that the league has gone this way with an All-Star game, because last time they had it, it was fun. I bid on it, a Charlie Gonzalez signed jersey from that All-Star game when he was a member of the Ontario Fury. It's Jose Gonzalez's younger brother, by the way. I love this, man. I'm super pumped about the All-Star game. Maybe I'll get out to Utica one way or another. Why not?
Absolutely. I hope they send you to upstate New York. That'd be awesome. Think about, you're going to see some of the names like Palmer and De Lima. You mentioned Marco Fabian. There could be 3-4 guys coming out of the Empire Strykers for this game. And to see these guys at the highest level at the Utica Arena, it's going to be something to behold. And I really do hope you get the gig, man. That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know how feasible it would be for them to fly me out from Los Angeles to Utica. I wouldn't even know where the heck to fly into. Syracuse, maybe? I could maybe go visit mom and dad in New York City and then hop a car ride, maybe check out Cooperstown on the way up to Utica. That's a possibility. But keep your eyes out on that. Look, the MASL season is quickly approaching. I think it's 22 days before the St. Louis Ambush have their home opener. And the reason why I know that off the top of my head is that was the last Facebook post that I saw before we started the show. But home opener for the Empire Strykers, December the 13th, Friday the 13th. And come on into the building. They'll be hosting Utica City being the team that's hosting the All-Star game. You're going to get to see a lot of really talented players from Utica. You're going to get to see the likes of Marco Fabian and all the 3 new players that we signed, along with Alex Bradley, Clayson De Lima, who was an MASL goalkeeper of the year. I can't wait for indoor soccer. Calling indoor soccer is some of the most fun that I have over the course of an entire year. You never get bored of that game. And if you've never been to an indoor game, I highly suggest and recommend you go. And I promise you, you will leave Toyota Arena saying to yourself, I'm glad I went. I want to go again. And I'll tell you what, hit me up on Instagram, PhilaMonster44. I'll even buy your first stinking ticket to get out to the game. But once you fall in love with it, the rest of the season is on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting to those games and seeing them. I took my son. I grew up watching the LA Lasers. So 100 years ago, I took my son to a game this past season, and he fell in love with it immediately. So he is coming to every game this season. We're going to get him tickets to each of these games. He's going to drive up from Newport Beach all the way out there. I know that we have fans because I checked the Instagram. I checked the websites, and I know we have fans coming all the way out from LA. West side of LA, people will come out to Toyota Arena to see the best indoor soccer players in the world. It is a fantastic time. If you've never been there, do one of the best things ever. Sit behind the goal. Sit up about midway, about 15 rows up. Watch the game develop. It's something to watch. And with that, we're going to get into Angel City right now. And let's get after it, Philly. Angel City, we've got Katie Zelem coming on this afternoon, and let's get into that intro.
I'm not sure if she's here yet. So you might have jumped the gun. Is Katie here? Oh, yeah, she is. All right. So shout out to our producer. Apparently the down arrow on my computer didn't work. Look, folks, our guest today is a star with Angel City FC, an England international, and a legend with Manchester United in her native country, having laced up with the Red Devils for a total of 161 times and having served as team captain. After starting her pro career with Liverpool and winning the league title, she did the same with Italy's Juventus before coming back and joining Manchester United's first team in its inaugural season, helping the club to the top flight of English football. In 2023, she was a member of the England squad that reached the final of the FIFA Women's World Cup. And earlier this year, she lifted the FA Cup trophy with Manchester United. We couldn't be more thrilled to have with us Angel City midfielder Katie Zelem. Katie, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for the introduction.
Of course. But before we really get started into things, I got to ask you, you're still very much a brand new Southern California resident. How are you liking it so far?
Yeah, the weather is very different from home, so that is a big difference. Every day my dad texts me to tell me it's raining in Manchester, and I send him a picture of the clear blue sky. So California really does live up to its name, and it's an amazing place, and I'm so happy to be here.
As are we. Seeing you at Angel City at BMO has been fantastic. Look, you're a legend with Manchester United, and coincidentally, I was wearing my Manchester United cufflinks to work today. Now, you first came up through the Manchester United Girls Center of Excellence, where you spent your football playing days from the age of 8 to 17. Later on, you would play in 161 games for the first team over the course of 6 years. Then, 3 months ago, you became a free agent and then decided to leave the beautiful weather of Manchester in order to join Angel City. That must have been a difficult decision. Walk me through your emotions and your thought process at that time.
Yeah, I've been at United a really long time, whether it be the youth or the first team, and also been in the Super League a really long time. I think I've been playing for 11 years professionally, and all but one of them have been in the Super League. So when my contract was coming to an end at Manchester United, I had options in England, in Europe, and for me it was about a new challenge and a new league, getting to know a different style of play and different opposition. I think when you're in the same league for such a long time, you know what every team's going to bring, you know what every team's about, and it's almost like you don't need to watch or do your research because you know everything you need to know. So coming here has been amazing for that, getting to know the opposition, getting to know my own teammates, and getting to know the league.
Hey, Katie, it's Tim. Philly mentioned in the intro that you played for Liverpool and Manchester United in England, and as well as Italy's Juventus, and now here with Angel City in the United States. How would you say that Angel City Football Club compares to the other club you've seen up close, both in terms of the professionalism, but also in terms of the fan support and the connectedness to the community?
Yeah, I think a huge draw of the NWSL and Angel City is the competitiveness of the league, and any given day, any team can win. You've seen that throughout this season, and I think also the fan base is incredible. Every home game is pretty much 22,000 people there, and our last game, obviously at Portland, we had 28,000, and I think it shows how far advanced it is over here in the NWSL. In terms of attendance, in terms of fan base, in terms of people getting out to support and accessibility. And I think for me, that's a huge draw of the league, but also of Angel City. It's a female led club, a female owned club, and it really does show you can do anything that you put your mind to, and especially highlighting the importance of females in sport.
Yeah, I love that. I love that answer. Let's talk a little bit about the football. So you're now 10 games into your Angel City tenure. Of course, the season hasn't gone the way a lot of people would have liked. And now some say, wholesale changes are made. But I wonder, how you feel things have been clicking on the field, maybe aside from the recent loss that you mentioned to Portland. Were you starting to sense that the chemistry was improving? And what do you feel is needed now to have more success in 2025?
Sorry, I don't know why my screen keeps zooming in and out like this. It's like a little focus on me.
That's okay. We were just talking about what you feel is looking for 2025. Do you need wholesale changes, or what do you feel with the chemistry clicking towards the end of the season?
Yeah, I think for me, we play some really good football. I think that's really evident. Even in a Sweden loss to Portland, we have a lot more of the possession. We create chances, and we usually outpossess and outpass most teams that we played. I think for us, our focus is really on both boxes. We've got to be taking more chances, and we've got to be stopping the goals, keeping more clean sheets. I think we can't be caught in transition like we have done in maybe some of the recent games, and more so this season. So for us, I think people in this league are so clinical. The transition is a huge thing, and it's something that we need to be able to manage better. You can definitely see that there's chemistry between players, and things are clicking all over the pitch. We have a lot of good players. It's really about them final touches, and unfortunately for us, the most important ones that we haven't been able to get right yet.
Kate, I'm glad you addressed the zooming in and out thing. I started looking inside my cup of coffee, wondering if something. I was getting anxiety hysteria. It's all good.
I kept moving back to see
There's
if I
nothing
could get
wrong with the coffee. I'm going to go harp on the Manchester United stuff a bit. Again, I'm wearing my cufflinks. Look, with you being an icon at United and former captain of the team, some people may not know that at the end of your youth career with them, you actually couldn't stay because the club didn't have a professional women's side. That's the reason you joined Liverpool in your late teens. You did rejoin United from Juve when the women's team debuted in 2018. What was that like for you, and did it feel like winning the lottery on your birthday?
I think, first of all, it was a shame that we didn't have a women's team at the time. I think a lot of people say to me, like, Liverpool's from Manchester United. I'm like, no. The choices were Liverpool, Everton, or Man City. So, each of them was going to get a bad rep. So when I got the call, I was in Italy, and I'd actually signed there for 2 years. And the technical director from when I was younger called me and then called my dad. And to just say, like, we're getting a team. And I'd never heard someone on the phone so happy. She was like, we're getting a team, we're getting everyone back together. And the players that have come through the Manchester United setup are really talented. There's obviously some of the girls back there now, but myself, Millie Turner, Ella Toon, Gabby George, and then out of the team, Izzy Christensen. There's a lot of players that, if they were able to keep that squad together, would have been a really competitive team. So to go back there, be reunited, especially with Millie, who I've played with in the youth setups. Our families are really close, and we travel to all the games together. So for me, it was almost like fate that I'd gone to Italy and come back, and it was like the team I'd supported my whole life, the team I'd grew up playing for, was getting a chance to go back there.
At this point, you're highly decorated, having won the league title with Liverpool and Juventus, as well as the FA Cup with United. Is it fair to say that the FA Cup ranks highest for you because of the role Manchester United has played in your life and the role you've played for that club?
Yeah, I've won trophies, medals, been at World Cups, and I think for me, the FA Cup will sit the highest in all the trophies I've won. Like I said, I'm a Manchester United player. By the championship in the first year, I was the first captain to win a trophy at Manchester United, and the first captain to lead them out in the Champions League. So for me, it was every time something new happened, I just felt so honoured to be part of it and part of making history. So to lift the FA Cup at Wembley with all my fans and friends and family in the crowd, usually all of them in tears, actually, was just so special for me.
You're almost got me in tears, Katie. I mean, I couldn't even imagine walking out at Wembley. That would just be amazing. Your role on the field is varied somewhat depending on which team you've been playing for over the years. You know, with England, you tended to play a more of a defensive role. Overall, do you see yourself as an attacking player, or could you see yourself fully embracing the more defensive role?
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it. Is dependent what team I'm in, what other players there is. I think when I was younger, I was an out-and-out 10, which comes as a bit of a shock to me now when I find myself that high up the pitch. But I think since I've been here, I have took on a more attacking role than maybe what I was at Manchester United and what I was with England. But to be honest, I really enjoy it. I think I mentioned I played much higher up when I was younger, so I enjoy joining in attacks and being able to try and create chances and link play a little bit higher up the pitch. So for me, I'm happy to play wherever the team needs me and wherever they feel I'm most effective.
I love that. Katie, I know you got a lot of other things going on today. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I do have one more to ask. You come from a football crazy family. Your father, a former professional goalkeeper, and his twin brother as well. What role did that play in your upbringing? Do you kick the ball around with the two of them at age 3? And at any point, did you run the risk of possibly becoming a goalkeeper like you did? I saw an article that said you copy your dad. Was goalkeeping in the mix for you?
Definitely not. My dad's 6 foot and I'm only 5'3", so I think I'd struggle to reach the crossbar. But when I was growing up, everyone was playing football. My dad's identical twin has a son. He used to play football, and everyone around me was playing football. So for me, it was like second nature. My dad used to take me on the field and kick the ball as high up as he could over and over and over just for me to control it. So every part of me is so grateful for them, and my mum too. Everyone forgets about her, but they've both been, oh, don't worry, it happens every time. They've both been so supportive and traveled the country and traveled the world for me. So I feel honored that I had the upbringing that I did and was able to play, but also the support whilst got a little bit older.
Mrs. Zelem, if you hear this, I apologize. I'll make sure we bring you part of the interview once again. You could scold me for it. Katie, once again, I greatly appreciate your time. On behalf of myself, Tim, and all of us here at Soccer in 60, we so wish you all the best in the upcoming season. And we know for a fact that you and the girls at Angel City are going to represent Los Angeles well in the postseason. You know, have yourself a great off season, and thank you again for your time.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
Bye.
That was awesome. Katie Zelem. I got goosebumps just hearing about the FA Cup. Just thinking about being at Wembley is pretty crazy. We got to fly through the Angel City segment because we had a great interview with Katie Zelem. Look, Angel City ended the season on the road, losing to the Portland Thorns by a score of 3-0. It was an unfortunate result. Portland Thorns would get goals by Christine Sinclair, Sophia Smith, and Morgan Weaver. That's how it would end it at Providence Park in Portland. As Katie said, in front of 28,000. The thing that's really worth noting, though, for all y'all out there is the match marked the retirement of NWSL and Canadian national team legend Sinclair, who's been part of the Thorns since the inception of the league. So that's the story with that. Angel City will be going into the offseason, and, you know, fingers crossed for something positive going forward. We know they're winning in the stands. They're winning. They're helping the growth of the girls' game. I've had season tickets there, sold out all the time. They're bringing in unbelievable talent like Katie Zelem. The future is very bright. And with that note, we're done with Angel City. You there, Tim?
Yeah, future is very bright. And with that, let's bump over to am I there? Can you hear me?
There's a slight pause on the connection.
Well, hopefully my feed is
gremlins eating away at your bandwidth. Oh boy. Sorry. Look, we've got some technical difficulties. We're going to talk about Orange County Soccer Club. Orange County, I'll wait until Tim gets back to really ask him some questions. But they had a playoff game just this past Wednesday on the road against Memphis 901. There's Tiki Tim. You back, buddy? Do you hear me? Back from the internet dead? You there?
Yeah, hopefully I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I mean, I hear you. Hopefully this thing is in sync. Do we still have a delay?
Well, I can hear you just fine. Hopefully that I'm coming through okay now. It must be sunspots or something. But with Orange County, we had the boys went out to Memphis, and they were slight underdogs out at Memphis, even though that they had beaten them the last 2 times, just because it was they were the higher seed. But Orange County powered through on a great 116th minute winner by Dylan Powers on a great short corner. Now, with PK's almost imminent, Orange County earned a great corner and tries a shorty. Normally, I don't like short corners because anytime that you can have a free pass right into the middle of the box, you should take it. And that's why I'm on the radio and I sell insurance, and Coach Stone runs a professional soccer team. The short corner catches Memphis off guard.
Salesman.
And Cameron Dunbar does a great job protecting the ball, drives a great cross, and finds the head of Dylan Powers, who just drills it past the outstretched arms of Memphis keeper Tyler Derrick. The dying moments seen Colin Shuttler keep the clean sheet with the win on a diving save to his left off the head of Dylan Borzak. And it's 1-0. And you could just see that Memphis was downtrodden. They were destroyed. It was incredible to see Orange County come out. And then if you listen to the post game talking about how they did it, the way they've done this over the past 9 games, and they're unbeaten since the middle of September. The team. And if you're from Ohio State and you're listening to me, sorry, I stole that from Michigan. But you're looking at that and you really see that Coach Stone has these guys playing really, really well. And it's the team. The team is doing everything they've done, especially in this game. And the Orange County boys could have easily had 2-3 goals in regular time even and not had to go to extra time. But what they did is they persevered. They knew that they didn't get that goal. And you could feel that goal coming in the last 10 minutes of the extra time. You knew that Orange County was going to score the go-ahead goal.
They're lucky to have. They should have won by a score of like 3-0. I mean, early on, Bryce Jamison clanking it off the post in the 4th minute. Cameron Dunbar had himself a couple of great attempts. It's amazing that they barely escaped. But man, what a kick to the teeth for Memphis 901 at the death, practically. Cameron Dunbar. And once again, I'm going to say it. Anytime you hop on Soccer in 60, there's some success. That's been the case for Orange County for quite some time now. A great cross in, and you said it, Dylan Danger Powers. Danger is his middle name, with the absolute banger of a header. Look, 24 shots, 5 on target. They did their thing. And this team has been unstoppable, not having lost since August the 31st, where they lost to the Las Vegas Lights in what could have been a backbreaking game that could have defined their season had they continued on that downward spiral. But this momentum that they've brought up, clawing their way in and even making it further into the playoffs, I am so utterly impressed with how this Orange County Soccer Club is playing, man. Colorado Switchbacks, you're on high alert, man.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I think the keys to the game for this Colorado Switchback games is that the defending of Orange County needs to stay at the fever pitch that they've been instilled in them by Coach Stone. The tracking back, the stopping of the shots on frame by the leaders of the team, Nakeem, Dunbar, Ethan Zubak hustling back, getting back to the top of the 18. You want to talk about a guy that plays goal line to top of the box. You're looking at Ethan Zubak, and he came back from that knock. He left that last game of the season that they ended up winning 3-2 in the 30th minute. Comes out and plays amazing the entire game. You know, takes him into extra time with as much time as he got. And Colorado, you mentioned it, they're definitely going to need to keep track of about 5 players. Ethan Zubak has got 10 goals on the year. Thomas Among is chasing him at 6. Bryce Jamison with 5. The Switchbacks, I think, are in trouble.
Look, I mean, if we're going to talk about teams that have a better run of form, it's all Orange County. Yes, granted that the Switchbacks did just beat the Oakland Roots back on November the 2nd by a score of 2-0. They haven't had the type of run that Orange County Soccer Club has had since August. So this should be a really good game. Obviously, Switchbacks have the higher seed. They finished in second in the Western Conference, so they have the home positioning, man. But Orange County is just continuing to buck trends, man. If they had Brian Olaski fully healthy, I would say it's a no-brainer for their way all the way to the Cup final. Dare I say winning the Cup final. But even without him, I am blown away by what I've seen from this team. 3 months ago, this team was dead in the water. Actually, maybe a little more than that. But still, now, just a couple of games out from the final, unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about the USL Championships. It's one and done. It's win or go home on every match. And that's the fun part of watching Orange County play this. So getting into these final couple of games, the Switchbacks I don't think it's going to be 0-0. I think that there's going to be a couple of goals, but extra time is realistic, and this one might go to penalties.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It'll be a good game. What's the date on that one anyway, Tim?
It's this weekend. You got to get on it. It's going to be on ESPN Plus, and get on the game. I watched this last game ESPN Plus, and it was fantastic. So, with that, that segment, the Orange County segment of Soccer and 60, was brought to you by National Core, one of the nation's largest nonprofit affordable housing developers, and a proud sponsor of your MASL team, the Empire Strykers. At National Core, they believe that soccer has the power to transform lives just like they do. They believe in building strong communities on and off the field. To learn more about National Core and their mission, go to nationalcore.org.
All right. And with that being the case, I think it's time for Team of the Week, right?
Yeah, we've got best 11. We can, let's get into the best 11 of the week. Let's look at it, see what we got. Oh, look at that. Colin Shuttler right on top.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Team of the Week. Look, MLS and USL playoffs have started. Angel City's season is over. And as we approach the end of the year, we're looking at who's who in LA that's filling us with cheer. LA's best 11 honorees of the week. We're going to go over those in just a second. But for those who don't know, we are highlighting the best players from all the teams that we cover on the show, Soccer in 60. Those who have had standout performances over the last week. And Tim, you mentioned it. Why don't you go through the list real quick, starting with Colin Shut You Down Shuttler for Orange County.
Yeah, with LA's best of the week goalkeeper, it is Colin Shuttler of Orange County. On the defense, we have Dylan Powers, also of Orange County. Marcus Nakeem from
Danger Powers.
Danger Powers. We got Marcus Nakeem, who played amazing. He's also with Orange County. Maya Yoshida, who just played amazing for LA Galaxy. Midfielders, Chris Hagar of Orange County, Ashish Chada of Orange County, Edward Atuesta of LAFC, Lewis O'Brien, also of LAFC, Ricky Pooch of LA Galaxy, Speed Burning Baby Gabrielle Peck of LA Galaxy, and off the schneid, no longer snake bit, Joseph Paintsill of LA Galaxy as your forwards. Got a couple of super subs in there, but let's talk about LA's best 11.
Yeah, look, I'm going to say team honors begin with Edward Atuesta for LAFC. A sub in the 64th minute. Atuesta capitalized on his playing time, drawing fouls and having 2 chances created with 1 shot on target. So I'm going to give the nod to Atuesta, El Profe, as they call him at BMO Stadium. Down the road to LA Galaxy, once again, Ricky Pooch. Now I can't get Yasiel Puig out of my mind. In fact, I end up calling him Yasiel
Sorry about that.
Ricky Puig. You're messing me up, Tim. But yeah, Ricky Pooch, he's come to play. Absolutely. Pooch, 2 goals, 2 minutes apart. As if that wasn't enough, he also completed the most passes and had 2 blocked shots. And last and certainly not least, from Orange County, Dylan Danger Powers. Similar to Pooch, Powers completed the most passes and also won 14 duels in his 120 minutes played. Then he scores the game-winning goal in the 116th minute. Hats off to the team captain and MVP of the week, Dylan Danger Powers.
Yeah, just an amazing LA's best 11 this week. From top to bottom, Philly, there's just an amazing group of players out there this week. A couple of super subs, Angel City's Katie Zelem makes our super sub one of our super subs a week, as does LAFC's Timothy Tillman. Really, really a great week in Los Angeles football this week, Philly.
Absolutely. And it's not, this week ain't over yet. Heading into BMO Stadium tomorrow at 7:30 because there was a time change. I'm sure you'll get that on Apple TV. LAFC hosting the Vancouver Whitecaps for the 100,027th time at BMO Stadium. A must win for both sides. Vancouver's definitely feeling themselves after a 3-0 skunking of the black and gold at BC Place. But tomorrow is it'll be interesting. Make sure you check that out, 7:30 on Apple TV.
Yeah, and one last thing, the programming note for Orange County, it is a 3:30 Pacific Standard Time because we have changed. So now it's dark right about now at 5 o'clock here in LA. It is on ESPN Plus, but it is at 3:30 Pacific Time here in LA.
All right. Well, look, I'm almost out of bubbly and we're almost out of time. So I've got nothing else to say to any of y'all out there other than thank you. And thank you to Katie Zelem, a fantastic interview. It's the reason we got her. I got my Manchester United cufflinks on. I didn't even know that we were interviewing her until earlier this morning. Shout out to our producer Gunner. Tim, what you got?
You know what? I'm about out of it too, but make sure you catch us on your podcast, on your favorite podcast network. Catch us on the Empire Strykers. Look us up on YouTube. Philly, this has been an awesome show, man. I'm stoked to have done it with you this week. Katie Zelem, thank you very much. And we will check you guys next week.